to the first onboard motivational education program, and it's intergenerational, which means everybody participates. We are leaving on a long voyage, so we thought it best to bring the world to you so that you can take a look. This is based on real world kind of things, so we want to make sure that you feel very real. And of course, that's good. Thank you for the weather. It's clearing now. Today we'll talk about the biodiversity of life. You'll have a chance, even as a family, to go ahead and talk about that, as well as you will have crazy activities.
Does anybody know what those lines are called? Excellent. Those are latitude lines. Yeah, which is what's the name for it? Excellent. That's the equator. Anything above the equator is considered what? North.
So, what's going to happen to you is we are about to give you a grid. So the first thing you have to do is build the grid. And as you begin to get successful with building the grid, dinosaur bones will get tossed in the middle, and then you have to figure out how to build them. Now, parents, you may not build for them, but you can give them advice.
Here, Ryan, you can connect over here.
Because part of the task that Barnum Brown had was to go ahead and put the dinosaur back together. How fast could they find the dinosaur, and then how fast could they put it together and get it to New York City, which is kind of your problem. Now, how many squares do we have?
6.
6. Okay, so Hunter, what square are you in?
I'm in the middle on the left.
You are? Suppose I turn this sideways. What are you in?
On the right.
You what?
If we put that on there, then I'm on the right.
There can be no confusion when you find your dinosaur bones. How did he remember where it was so that he can remember how to put it back together? Suppose I did this. Anna, what did I just do?
You, like, organized it, like...
I organized it, okay? In rows. So, the grid actually comes from us looking at photographs of scientists, and it doesn't matter whether they are studying human behavior of the past, or they're studying a shipwreck on the bottom of the ocean, or they're taking a look at a dinosaur dig. That grid comes out. And when you can make it three-dimensional and then the kids can crawl inside and actually become part of the grid, that's a memory that lasts quite a bit longer than, again, if you drew a one-dimensional on the paper tic-tac-toe type square.
We are on
We're missing that one piece.
I'm gonna stand up and look.
Yeah, what was that like to do the dinosaurs? Were you studying the diagram too? Mm-hmm. So was it easy or hard?
Hard.
It was a bit hard. Now, do you think it was hard for Barnum Brown? Imagine he has to dig them out of the dirt and then arrange them, and then he has to ship them all the way to New York City from Montana, and then he had to put them together with wires and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's pretty darn difficult. The frustration in terms of youth in learning science is that they can see it in a chart form, and it's wonderful to see in a chart form, but there's nothing like creating your own chart by taking it apart bit by bit and beginning to lay it out in the manner that makes sense to you. And that's really what science is all about, is making sense to you, and as well as education overall. What we're going to ask you to do first is really worry about variables and change. And you're going to do this in a way where you are actors and actresses and absolutely silly. So, you, of course, are having a baby every 3 seconds. You are making your sound every 5 seconds. And you're doing yours every, 10 seconds. When you hear this sound,
Rumble, rumble, rumble.
one comes out. That is the most interesting earthquake I have ever heard. Probably more important to me for that session was that they were beginning to work as a group, and they were beginning to laugh, because as soon as you make them make silly sounds and motions, and you have a boy having birth, That does it every time. Everybody begins to roll and realize we can all laugh and learn together.
Rumble, 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 rumble.
How often did we have that baby?
Every 3 seconds.
And therefore, how many babies did we have? 20. What's happening?
Oh, it's balanced.
Ooh, it's balanced. What's that mean?
Well, it's plus 20, and then all those negatives equal
12, 18, and 2 more is 20. In the 1960s, the British came, and they decided to go ahead and conquer. So what they did was they brought a Nile perch, which is an alien species. And the Nile perch, if you've ever met one, eats everything in sight. But then they ate so many cichlids that things began to go bad, and that's what we're going to get into here. In terms of science, I think they were learning that the world changes, and I think that's why it's entitled Variables, and it actually applies to all subject areas and to all disciplines and all walks of life, really. So what was Variables all about? There were predators, there was disasters,
and then there's
natural death,
and then
the birth. Okay. And what happened when we introduced the alien species? Go ahead.
It completely threw off balance.
Completely threw off the balance. As a matter of fact, what happened to the species?
Died.
Extinct. People can make a difference in 2 ways. People can make a difference in a bad way, in a very negative way, like the British happened to make the mistake of putting in the Nile perch, but at the same time, people have helped the bald eagle tremendously with that. Kids today need heroes, and they need those heroes presented in ways that make sense to them, and that involves the theory of multiple intelligences. So I think it really is a researchable, doable approach that you can do with children as well as 70-year-old adults.